And welcome back to the SCB Steelers Podcast presented by DEK Roofing Incorporated of South Florida. We are very pleased to be part of the growing Variety Sports Network. And, of course, the show originates from the Bradshaw Bourbon Studio. And what do you know? The Pittsburgh
Burner
Steelers
is here. Wow.
I think you put peer pressure on Burner, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Maybe he got fired or quit his job or something.
Just real quick, Steelers are 4-2. They have a wonderful victory over the LA Rams, which we'll get into. Talk a little bit about trade deadline and George Pickens and all kinds of wonderful stuff tonight.
Wonderful, you, Johnny.
Wonderful to see everyone, and that's a record for a fuck you, Johnny. That's less than 90 seconds into the program. So we'll have to document that. But anyway, welcome in everyone. Welcome in to Ben, to Ian, to Scarps. And let me just get right to it here. Ben, if you could pick one person who was most responsible for the victory in LA.
Who's blowing into his mic? Whoever it is, stop it.
I hear it, so it's probably not me.
I think it's the guy with the new headset.
The new headset? Yeah.
What I love about this
how to
guy.
use a mic. Who was most responsible for it?
If you could pick
Deontay Johnson.
Ooh, really?
Yeah. I mean, if I had to pick one guy, that's the guy. Dan Moore played much better than I expected. I was not unhappy with him. He had a really nice block on a counter that I was like, where did that come from? Who? What the?
Are you referring to the block or the actual play?
Both.
Yeah.
Both. I don't remember the last time I saw a tackle come across the backside on a pull and clear out a lane like that. And it was great.
Awesome.
Did a good job. So I wasn't displeased with the way he played. You didn't hear his name, which generally means doing a good job when you're an offensive lineman. But yeah, I think more than anybody else, Deontay Johnson coming back really kind of opened things up for them in the passing game. It certainly helped George Pickens out. They both had nice games.
Okay. I can't argue with
TJ.
Yeah.
TJ is a good call too, Burner. But you know, we've gotten to the point now where we just expect TJ to be a game wrecker. And when he's not, we're like, dude, what the fuck?
Scarps, who's the one guy who got that victory for the Steelers?
Matt Canada.
Oh,
I'm not kidding. They are terrible for 3 quarters. They do better in the fourth quarter. I thought the play calling was better in the fourth quarter. And then I sit there and think, you know, how bad is the play calling in quarters 1 through 3? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to give too much credit to Matt Canada, but you know, you can't blame the sucking in quarters 1 through 3 on Canada and then say it's not don't credit him in the fourth quarter. Yeah. I thought that they ran well, they ran timely, and you know, that revamped offensive line or whatever we want to call it, or what we've been calling it, finally showed up. So I look at that unit overall as performing better, and I give credit to Canada for calling the right plays at the right time.
Good for you. Good
Canada
for you.
Canada did call a better game in the second half. I will agree with you. But in the first half, it was a lot of the same shit with receivers running to the same area. It was a little bit maddening.
Yeah. Ian, who was your one guy?
I'm going to go with Jaylen Warren. I think his touchdown really lit a fire under everybody else. And, you know, it was the first kind of explosive play they had. And I mean,
hey, Club.
I think his touchdown especially lit a fire under Najee, because Najee wasn't running real well until Warren sliced off that touchdown. And then they went back to Najee, and I was kind of like, what are they doing? Warren just had this good touchdown run. And then all of a sudden he kind of picked it up too and started running better and running harder. And I mean, TJ's the obvious answer, but Burner kind of stole my answer. So I'll go with Jaylen Warren.
I thought that the line blocked better for both of those plays than they've been blocking, in the first half at least. They got down close, and it was like they got excited. They could smell blood, and all of a sudden they're blocking and they're opening up holes. The especially that touchdown that Warren had, that was beautifully blocked.
It was.
I'm not going to say I could have gotten that touchdown, but
22 wouldn't have.
When I was 25, I would have gotten that touchdown, and 22 would have gotten the touchdown on that play too. It was really well blocked. It was really well blocked in his touchdown too. I'm not taking anything away from Warren.
Right.
I thought both of those plays were nice blocks, and that the offensive line got down there and they got excited and smelled a little blood in the water and went for it, went after it. It was nice. It was great to see.
Well, I think all of you make excellent decisions and choices on your number one, but you're all wrong.
Burner's correct. Maybe if it was a Make-A-Wish game, and I was still 25, still 25 years old, Burner. I'm not. I'm 55, so that's
Make-A-Wish game. You're all wrong. The reason the Steelers won that game in the second half was the head official, and maybe more importantly, the linesman. Because that was a horrible spot. I'm sorry. It was terrible spot, and the rules just happened to work in our favor, so I could care less. I'll take the victory. And
that was a
walk
terrible
away.
spot. I will agree with that. But
right. Don't blow all your timeouts.
Well, it isn't just that. It's there are a few things there. One, if Sean McVay manages his timeouts better, he can challenge that play first. Second, if their kicker makes those 3 kicks he fucking missed, we're not even having this conversation.
Nope.
That's 7 points he left on the field, and then he lost his job this week.
He did.
So you take care of what you have control of, and you don't worry about the refs. And Tomlin points this out all the damn time when we get screwed by the refs, is that you can't control that. I'm not gonna discuss that. I'm not gonna worry about it. We have to take care of what we have control of. We had opportunities, we didn't take care of them. The Rams had opportunities, and they didn't take care of them.
Yeah,
I don't think this was a battle of 2 really great teams, the way Steelers Nation seems to think. I think it was a battle of 2 mediocre teams, and the Steelers did enough to come out with a victory in what would, slightly less than favorable circumstances. There were a lot of Steelers fans in the stands rather. Oh, yeah. And that certainly helps. But with the long road trip, we always tend to see them play a little worse.
Well, it's the first time they've beaten the Rams on the West Coast.
First back-to-back West Coast road trip wins in how long, Ian? Can you tell me that one?
Goodness, it's been a while. I
long time. But the first time they've beaten the Rams on the West Coast, the only other time it happened was Super Bowl 14. So you take
that was glorious.
Oh, that was quite glorious. You just take it, and you're 4-2 now. You're right on the heels of the Ravens, and you have the current tiebreaker with them. Cleveland escaped the game. Their vaunted defense gave up 38 points. Bengals were off. So I think this is going to be an interesting week. All 3 of the AFC North opponents of ours are out west. All 4 or 425 games. So it's going to be an interesting week, to say the least in that regard, but we'll touch on that much later. So Scarps, what do you think it was that suddenly was working for fill in the blank here? Matt Canada, Kenny Pickett, the offense. Well, what changed?
I want to be clear about this, and I'm not the Rams defense is not what it once was, and that's fine. No. But what I think they did well was they took Aaron Donald out of the game, and there were plenty of times when they would show Donald on the sidelines, and I was like, "Oh, is he hurt or whatever?" And it's like, no, they had the personnel out there. They schemed away from him, and as much as I bash the Steelers coaching staff, kudos to them for doing a good job. But again, I want to say that I want to say this, that the Rams defense is not that good. And the Rams move the ball pretty well on offense. And kudos to TJ for making a heads-up play. It wasn't the interception that I was It wasn't the interception that it was that he ran the route. Essentially, he ran the route. Like he defended like a corner would, but he ran the route all like. I didn't run the route for him, but
he saw the pass.
Like,
he saw the pass coming before it was thrown, and then when it was thrown, he was able to jump in there and grab the ball.
And I mean, he's a big dude, so for him to move like that, I mean, shit, he looked faster than Patrick Peterson and Levi Wallace. So like, there was. I'm being serious.
I don't know if that's saying much.
But so I think what the Steelers did well was that they took Aaron Donald out of the game, and then I think Canada finally realized that okay, this defense is not who they once were. Let's just do what we do best, or what we think we do best, and just run the ball, control the clock, and they did. That last drive that they had was like 5 minutes long, which is like, I mean, an eternity.
Yeah.
And again, you know, I am critical of this team, and a win is a win. I still don't think they're very good overall, but you know, whatever.
They did what they needed to do. They did what they needed to do. I agree with you. They did what they needed to do on Sunday, and it was nice to watch that fourth quarter in particular. Pickett had 92 yards of passing through 3. Going into the fourth, he had 92 yards of passing, and then in the fourth quarter, he had 138.
Yeah,
the dude.
Yeah, it was a brutal showing up until then.
Yeah, up until then, he was not doing well, and then every time he would get a completion, there'd be a penalty or something stupid that happened. And there was one play in the fourth that we almost lost it. Aaron Donald was lined up at right defensive end. On Dan Moore and was coming in, and he was close, and Seumalo saw it and saved a sack.
Who saved the sack?
Seumalo.
He I know the play you're talking about, and I was Ian, I was going to throw it to you too. Just the real quick thing on Seumalo, and somebody in the chat mentioned Mason Cole doing a pretty good job. I thought they did
Cole's better.
I thought they did a very nice job of communicating and working together, that interior 3. You would see somebody engage Aaron Donald, and then somebody came over and kind of gave him the old love tap, as they say, and it kept him off his game enough to where I don't think he ever really truly got going. So I think we did a good job in that regard. Ian,
he didn't know when he was going to get doubled.
Yeah, right, and that's. You know, that's, I think, part of
and
it. And
there were some times when he got doubled and he split it, but by the time he split the double, it was too late.
Right. Ian, I wanted to ask you.
Actually, can I answer a previous question first? So the last time we won back-to-back games
there we go.
In the Pacific time zone was November 1999.
No way.
We won in San Francisco, and then the following year, December of 2000, we won in San Diego. So those were back-to-back Pacific,
but not the same
season.
Okay, if you want to go the same season, that would be 1984. Was the last time
Lord,
that
that's
we won,
incredible,
dude.
We won October in San Francisco and December in wherever the Raiders were playing at the time.
That would have been LA at that
time.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my gosh. That's a great stat right there. What I was going to ask you, though, is the Steelers line was doing some different stuff, and you guys have already alluded to it a little bit. Ben mentioned Dan Moore leading up into the hole. Did I see the old counter tray?
They ran a counter tray. They ran a couple traps. There was some couple different things in there, and but the line finally started to like figure out where they were supposed to be. Right. One of my complaints early in the year that I said on this show that I said they needed to simplify things, and they had too many guys going in too many different directions, and they didn't know where they were going. But they still have guys going everywhere, but it seems now like they know what their assignments are supposed to be and who they're supposed to block. And, like we saw on Warren's touchdown, like we saw on Najee's touchdown.
I don't think they simplified it. I think they just said, look, this is inside zone. You don't
they figured out how to run it.
You don't necessarily have to stick to the script. You don't necessarily have to take this guy. If he's not coming to you, you don't have to watch him. You can look over here. And we didn't leave a bunch of gaps.
Mm-hmm.
What I expected were a whole bunch of delayed blitzes. And you didn't see that many this week. because it wasn't working early.
Right. I
I just think there's more flexibility in what they're doing now, and I'm a fan.
I agree with that. Yeah,
where before they were going, nope, this is what you're doing. This is your responsibility. This is your one guy. Come on, man. It just that doesn't account for anything that could happen during the course of a pass rush. Any kind of stunts, fire zones, delayed blitzes, run blitzes.
Yeah. Mike Tomlin is now 2-0 against the boy genius, Sean
McVay. He is.
You know why that is? Because Sean McVay only won with Jeff Fisher's players.
8-8, baby. Scarps, did you have a point to make?
He had got me off my game because they won a Super Bowl. They won a Super Bowl. They won a Super Bowl 2 years ago. But he said he said August 8th. Jeff Fisher. The other thing that I talked about Canada, but the other thing that won them the game, besides a bad spot and a couple bad kicks, is that they didn't turn the ball over. And just do yourself a favor in the next day or two. Go look at Pro Football Reference, which is a wonderful site, and just look at the team stats and rankings area. And I see a lot of 25s, 28s, 26s, 30s, 31s. And those are where the Steelers' offense and defense rank league-wide in a variety of categories. Mm-hmm. But on offense, they have the 5th fewest turnovers, and then they've produced the 4th most turnovers. And that has been their bread and butter all season.
Mm-hmm. They're 4-0 right now when they win the turnover battle. And rocket science.
And, I don't know if that's going to be the way every game, but, and like Ben said earlier, you can't expect TJ Watt to make a play every game. But when that happens, this is what happens. When they win when that happens. So that's their recipe. Is it sustainable? I don't know.
Well, they keep finding a way. And, like we've been talking about for a couple of weeks, Tomlin has this ridiculous record in close games. That dude can pull wins out of his ass.
He does. It's magic. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to say it's magic, but damn.
It's something.
I know when they're close in the fourth quarter, we have a better than average chance.
Yeah. What Burner asked with Dan Moore coming back, playing well, what does it mean for Broderick?
Did he play well? I
thought he was solid.
He didn't play that poorly. Let's put it that way.
He played bad in the first half. He did not have a good first half.
First quarter didn't play well. I agree.
No, not many people played well in the first quarter.
There's that.
Yeah.
But luckily, neither did the Rams offense in the first quarter.
Do you guys see a scenario where Moore kicks over to the right side? Maybe not this year, but
I think that's their long-term plan.
It has to be.
I hope so. I don't know though. I don't know.
Pickett I don't either. Right. I'm just spitballing here. But I want to. Go ahead, Scarps.
I don't, and I don't know why. I don't know why everybody's so pissed off that like Dan Moore's playing and he's playing pretty decently. And okay, maybe pretty decently is up to discussion, but there's no like. Broderick Jones, even though they moved up for him, like he's not a finished product, right?
No.
Mm-hmm. So like I don't see what the problem is that if he doesn't like play right away, and we've all talked about that. So like Dan Moore is still on a rookie contract. It's not like they signed Dan Moore to this huge extension and they're paying him to suck. He's doing just fine, and in my opinion, Chooks is the weak link. So yeah, long term.
Yep.
Long term, yeah.
And Chooks makes a lot more money than Dan does. I just don't know. A lot of times with left tackles, it's difficult to make that transition to the other side. Some guys can do it, no problem.
Right.
And maybe he can, maybe he can't. I don't know.
I think a lot of fans just automatically assume, oh, well, it's offensive tackle, so it's not a big deal. It is a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah. Couple of things before we advance further. Just wanted to give respects to our good friend Melvin. We talk literally every week at halftime. He calls me from his establishment, let's just say that, where he's watching the game with friends, and he called me right after the game because we were so stunned what transpired, and unfortunately he got news that his brother-in-law passed away.
It's a shame.
Like literally as the game had ended, and so he's had to head out of town and stuff. So I'm sure that's why he's not with us tonight. But best to him, and just as Ian mentioned also that I did not mention, or I did not ask what everybody is drinking tonight. So I know Melvin would appreciate knowing what everybody's drinking. So Ian, what do you got?
Well, I had this prepared for the start of the show, but because you ruined it and waited till now.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I am drinking some Redemption Rye. And I am drinking Redemption Rye because this was a redemption game. Not just for the offensive line, not just for the quarterback, Kenny Pickett, but for one Matthew Canada, who turned things around and really finally learned how to call a football game. So I'm drinking Redemption Rye because we're back on the bandwagon, baby. Heart stars and horseshoes, clovers and balloons. We're going 17-0 or 15-2 or whatever the heck it is. Super Bowl time, baby.
Is that the toilet seat that Matt Canada signed?
No, it was a hat that I found in my kid's play bin, and I was like, I gotta wear this on the podcast.
Well, I mean,
why?
I think Gilligan's missing his hat, but
Matt Canada is too, you know.
Hey, how about
but he finally showed some emotion. That was kind of fun.
He did. He showed some emotion, especially after the week before when it was just kind of like
Johnny's making fun of you for being a member of the Sunshine Crew when he is one. Johnny's very sunshiny.
Fuck you, Johnny.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you.
So cheers. It's redemption week.
I've always wanted to do that. Scarps, what are you drinking tonight?
It's that Larceny bourbon, which is still pretty good.
Yeah. Larceny.
I got a couple
out of a solo cup. You're classy as fuck.
I got a couple White Claws here on deck, and and pretty soon we're going to be talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars.
Mark, you got to get us some like SCB Rocks glasses so Scarps doesn't have to drink whiskey out of a solo cup.
I have a glass upstairs. I have one. I just choose to be a degenerate. Okay.
He's our official redneck of the show.
It really doesn't. This is the guy who when he joined this show, he was drinking the Crown Roos vodka. I was like, dude, what is that? $6.99?
It's $9.99 for like 1.75 liters.
Hey, a young man on his budget. That's big time, guys.
Whatever.
Yeah. George Pickens. Does he need to settle it down a little bit here?
You think?
Yeah,
they all do. I mean, Deontay got a penalty too, so it's
It's not just that. It's the shit he said in the media today. I'm like, dude, really? It's kind of a hope defense. They kind of hope that their defensive line will get there, but if they don't necessarily, they got a bunch of first rounders up there, but they kind of hope they'll get to the quarterback. So it's kind of a hope defense.
Well, they are 32nd in pass defense.
Well, I will say this. Okay?
And what's our passing offense?
Their corners
better than 32.
Their corners were talking a little trash yesterday, specifically about 14, or one corner was talking trash yesterday, specifically about 14.
Right.
And he may have heard it, but still, he needs to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, agreed, Vinny. He does. And, it's just part of it is the emotion. He's got to understand.
We knew this, though.
We did. Oh, we absolutely did. Colbert knew it. Tomlin knew it. They all knew he had problems. I mean, it goes back to Georgia.
Fine. But by the same token, it's the position. It just breeds.
It does.
That shit. That fucking attitude.
It does.
Crap.
And it's frustrating because, like we said with Chase Claypool,
yes, Jan, you're right.
It's one of these moments. It's going to cost us. We were fortunate that was a dead ball foul after the play, so all it did was back us up. It didn't tack on yardage. It was still first.
The refs got that wrong too, though.
It was a spot foul, wasn't it?
Oh shit!
It was a spot foul. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
The refs either said it incorrectly because if it's a dead ball foul, there is no redo. So it must have been a spot foul, but they said it was a dead ball foul.
Oh, they called that it's a dead ball foul. Okay, it was the play was still live, so it definitely was not a dead ball foul. It was a spot foul, which took us back to 3rd and 17 or something.
See, I didn't think it did.
It did.
Okay, all right. But he gets so damn emotional.
17.
And
I don't know.
Yeah.
The Jaguars guys are smelling blood, and I think that's why they're saying shit.
Yeah,
because they're going to get them to.
They can tell that they're getting under. Yeah. The Rams guys could tell they were getting under his skin.
Yeah.
Witherspoon was even talking shit to him, and he knows him.
Yep.
You know, and then Deontay gets up after that play when he got the flag on Witherspoon, which, by the way, that was not DPI. Sorry, man. I mean, that was really good coverage.
Yeah.
Really. I didn't see him hook him. I didn't see him touch him. I don't know how the hell you call DPI on that.
It was weak sauce. It was.
It wasn't just that. The refs they were terrible all the way around in that game. And then to call him for this and talking, it wasn't like, I don't know what he said. Maybe he said, fuck you, shouldn't talk shit. And then, you're going to get a call for that.
Well, I'm telling you, as far as the officials go, we have a brand new first-year ref coming up this week.
I bet he's better than last week.
I hope he is.
Last week was shit.
I hope so.
I don't know. Whatever happens this week, don't worry. Ian will keep notes, and he'll hold grudges for years.
I can relate to that. Yes, Aaron, I just said weak sauce. I'm trying to stay hip with the kids, man.
The kids. Wait, didn't the kids you were teaching say that shit like 10 years ago?
Yeah, that's kind of the joke. Yeah. I try to use old slang as much as possible because then they get embarrassed for me when in fact I think it's hilarious. So they of course I just gave in my secret, but nobody's watching the show from there anyway. So
I hope your students aren't watching the show.
We had a soccer game tonight or something. In any case, let's get back to the action here from Sunday. Joey Porter Jr.
By the way, sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
One last comment.
Yeah.
Since we're bemoaning the officiating, the head official was Craig Ralstad in that game.
Yep.
Do you know what other infamous Steelers game he refereed?
It wasn't the Jesse James.
It was not the Jesse James. No, it was before that.
It was before it.
Before that.
I know this much.
Bengals playoff game.
It was not the Bengals playoff. No, it was the game in New Orleans where Joe Hayden got the.
That's it. The push.
Yeah.
The phantom push.
Phantom push. Yep.
That was his first Steelers game since 2020. If I remember correctly. This guy hasn't officiated one of our games in quite a while.
Because he sucks.
Well, clearly.
Because he sucks.
Like.
I think in the offseason we need to do like a full show just on NFL officiating, just so we can fix it.
Ian would love to do that.
I think
don't know
he would.
If the fans would love that as much.
No, they'd get a kick out of it. What can you tell you? Joey Porter Jr. What were your guys' thoughts? Ian, go ahead. What were your thoughts on JPJ?
He has played better than I thought he would. He's still grabby, but he's getting away with it. But he's using his God-given traits, speed and long arms, to his advantage. He's probably simultaneously our best cover corner and our worst run defending corner. But because no one else can cover, you got to put him out there and just kind of hope he doesn't give up too much in the running game. He does not seem to want to tackle at all, but
I thought he was willing. He just sucks at it.
He sucks at it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Right. He's like a matador in the run game. He's just like ole.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
I'm gonna run in there.
He and I think you said this week, Ian. He's going for the big hit as opposed to just wrapping the guy up and working angles.
Yeah.
Like you are the last line of defense when you are an outside corner. You got to work the angles and wrap the guy up and just bring him down. Stop going for the big hit. This is not college, man.
Yeah,
he's come up with plays in multiple games that, big passes defended.
I don't disagree with you. And I also think, like you, I feel that he should be able to learn on the job and earn his stripes that way.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I would much rather see JPJ whiffing on guys in run defense than Patrick Peterson playing trail technique 5 yards behind a guy. Like, he can't even get close to a guy.
Because it's not purposely trail technique.
Well, I was going to say it becomes trail technique.
It would,
I don't know
if the guy was running a slant and he was running with him and he was a yard off or yard and a half off, I'd call that trail technique, right? But no, he's just getting his doors blown off, and the guy's running away from him.
Nope. Mike Tomlin earlier this week said that Patrick Peterson is essentially Cam Sutton.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, no, Mike, he's not.
I don't know if you knew that. I don't know if you know that, like, Cam Sutton's actually playing pretty well and doesn't look
5
like
years
he's
younger, and
doesn't look like he's running in quicksand.
By the way, if trail technique is like a yard and a half off, then what do we call what he does? Is that like trailing technique?
Trailing technique.
I like that. Yeah.
And Wallace is a master of it as well. We can't leave out Levi.
Oh yeah.
Levi is having an awful season, man.
And you know what? They did a pretty good job against Cup, but you know what? Like, Puka Doncic was destroying them.
That kid is good.
And honestly,
I
mean, TJ said this after the game, like Matthew Stafford on that pick didn't even look anywhere else, which is weird considering he's a veteran and he's savvy, he should know better. But again, and Tomlin last week said we don't care about wide receiver stats, but they've gotten worked by a wide receiver every single game this year. Puka Doncic is the most recent one. And I'm not even talking 7 for 50. I'm talking 7 for $140 at a touch. It's just very bizarre. Mike Tomlin this year has been very his responses have been so weird. And I don't know if he's just over the questions or is feeling the fire or whatever, but
the receiver,
I think he like you just said, he's kind of over all of it. He's over the questions. He's like, you guys just keep asking me these questions, and I'm trusting the process. Well, Mike, we're going to keep asking the questions until the process yields some better results.
He gets paid a lot of money to not win playoff games, so
I'm not going to disagree with you there, my friend. Mike, rumor has it Mike makes $10-11 million a year. Nobody knows exactly what that figure is, but that's kind of the going rate now for NFL head coaches.
Yeah. He gets paid.
He's been there for a long time. So
the whole thing with I lost my damn train of thought. I started thinking about Tomlin and other things. Well, the receiver thing is what I was going to go after. The fact that we've been torched by a single receiver, it reminds me of those days in the NBA when you just said, okay, let the superstar go off. We're going to shut down everybody else. It seems like we do that every week.
Yeah, but if Cooper Kupp doesn't drop 2 passes, maybe 3 passes, do we really shut down the second guy either?
Fair. But again, that's how we've lived this year. Look at the drops in the Ravens game. I mean, it's crazy.
Drops in the Ravens game were
those were atrocious.
Hilarious,
astounding. I mean, it's great because it was the Ravens, right?
Of course,
but their fans keep talking about the fact, well, woulda, coulda, shoulda. If they wouldn't have dropped the ball, blah blah blah. Well, they did drop the fucking ball, so what difference does it make?
Yeah.
And in my opinion, Lamar Jackson is the MVP right now of the league,
really well.
And if they didn't drop all those balls, he would absolutely be the MVP of the league currently.
They'd be 6-1.
Not to get too far off topic, but I was looking the other day. The Ratbirds actually have a pretty tough schedule, the rest of the way.
Yeah.
They play the Cardinals this week, who suck, but then they got the Seahawks, Browns, Bengals, who are all 500 plus.
Mm-hmm. The Cardinals have pulled some games out though at home.
Yeah,
they've been competitive.
Yeah, they've been competitive.
Really have, and they beat the Cowboys.
Yeah. Then they got the Chargers and the Rams, who are both middle of the road, I guess.
Right.
And then the Jags, 49ers, and Dolphins before they play us. So, like, they only have 2 games left against teams that have losing records right now. Not that that really means anything at this point in the year, but just saying they've got a harder second half.
Yeah, absolutely. It adds up.
It does.
Yeah. So,
then again, we went and lost to the stupid Texans. So who knows? You know, any given Sunday.
They're on the up.
They're on the up.
Yeah, I think the Texans are much better than we thought they were going to be.
I like that Texans roster. I'm a fan. I mean, like I said after the game, the Texans are what I thought the Steelers were going to be. They're a young team that's got some talent, and they're going to make it exciting every week. And you're not necessarily going to win, but you're going to feel like you have a shot every week, and it's going to be exciting. It's going to make you optimistic for the future.
Mm-hmm.
And the Steelers, I thought, were that team, and they're not so far. So
if the Steelers win, I guess win or lose this week, 5-2, 4-3. What do you anticipate at the trade deadline, Scarpino? What are your thoughts on what the con artist might do?
Stop. I don't know if they're going to make a move, and I don't necessarily know if that's the worst thing. I hate social media, but it's where we're at right now.
Mm-hmm.
But the talk this week was we're the favorites to land DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, why?
What?
That doesn't even stand
that doesn't even make sense. Like, at least
where
have
the
an
fuck
original.
Would you put him in the slot?
Yeah, at least have an original thought in your head. In my opinion, they need to go after a cornerback that's available. But my concern is that they added a Desmond King very early on, and they've already cut him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he was cut by the Texans, and apparently was cut for a reason.
Okay, but they signed him before the season even started. It's not like they signed him.
They claimed him off waivers.
What? God damn it! Ben, just when I thought we were getting along,
I'm just telling you.
Okay, but my point is that he was here before the regular season started,
right?
And he either didn't grasp the playbook, or he was slower than Patrick Peterson, and it's whatever. So my point is, I don't have a lot of faith in them to be able to bring in a cornerback and plug and play.
I think in Desmond King's case, they saw a guy that had a lot of athletic ability that they liked coming out in the draft, and they wanted to bring him in because it was basically, I don't want to call it free, but he was on a rookie contract, so he's really cheap. And it was one of those deals where you can keep him as long as you want, and you can cut him, and you're out practically nothing. So they brought in King to see what they could do. They said he was a good athlete, but they didn't like the way he played. They just didn't like the way the guy played. They didn't like the way he even the way he returned kicks, and he couldn't grasp the defense quickly enough. He couldn't get on that moving train, as Mike Tomlin likes to put it. And so it got to the point where it's like, yeah, okay, this is a project, but this is a longer term project maybe than we want. So let's look at somebody else. Let's look at Darius Rush.
So with Darius Rush, I mean, I don't think anybody really thought he'd get a helmet.
He's not going to play this year.
I mean, the only thing is he's got to be on the active roster, though, right?
For at least 3 weeks.
At least 3 weeks. So I think a lot of people are looking at that like, well, why isn't he playing? I don't think he's going to either. I mean, you look
I think that they're going to try and convince him that Pittsburgh is a good place for him, and that he can develop here, blah blah blah.
Sure. And
that they're going to end up cutting him and putting him on the practice squad in a couple of weeks, which is fine.
Yeah.
Whatever, if they can make it work. But somebody else may come along when he's on the Steelers practice squad and say, yeah, we'd actually like him here instead. So they may put him on their active roster.
Mm-hmm.
That's the risky run.
Yep. Ian, what do you think?
I mean, Rush. I said this last.
artist?
Well, I said this last week with Rush. He's kind of in the same spot that Corey Trice was going to be in, that borderline roster practice squad. Young player who's got measurables of long arms and speed, but is very raw and needs time to develop. And if he gives you anything, it's going to be on special teams, not on defense. I agree. Corner is the biggest position of need. I think with them bringing Cam Hayward back to practice and opening that 21-day window, that will probably, hopefully, help the run defense a little bit. So I don't think defensive line is a spot they're going to look to add.
I don't think they would have anyway.
No. I think corner is the biggest one. Depending on Pat Freiermuth's injury situation, maybe tight end, because they don't seem to want to use Washington, even though they probably should.
It was weird,
Aaron,
Sunday.
I don't see that.
That was weird. All the snaps that Connor Hayward got and all the snaps that Darnell Washington didn't get. I didn't quite understand.
They clearly view Hayward as a better option in the receiving game than they do Washington. And it is a little weird from my standpoint, just as much as they were running the ball, that Washington didn't get more snaps. But what they kept doing was using Hayward in motion to try and get the defense to tip its hand. And they were actually using motion successfully and intelligently in the second half. I was like,
fancy that.
I was like, what? Where did this come from? What is? I mean, like,
Raheem Morris is a pretty solid defensive coordinator.
He's good.
He's
not pretty good. He's good.
Yeah.
And the whole thing, I was just like, who is this guy? Where did he come from? Like he's trying to help his quarterback all of a sudden.
So do you think the Hayward thing was more about just this week, the way that they felt about playing the Rams, and we'll see more?
I think it was more about
it
was a matchups thing. I don't know if we'll necessarily see more of Washington this week. I don't know enough about the way the Steelers view those matchups to be able to say, here's what we're going to see. But I think that was the way they viewed it this week.
Right. And then, Ben, what I know you didn't think they were going to do D-line at all. Is there any position you can see a situation?
It's corner. 100% it's corner. I don't see Patrick Surtain becoming a Steeler, Aaron. No, I do not see that because that's going to be either a first and a second.
Take too much. Yeah.
A first and a second or two firsts. And if honestly, if the Broncos trade him, they're fucking idiots. But, they've done dumber things than this, so maybe they will. They certainly would.
Let's ride.
They'd probably take a 7th round pick for Russell Wilson if somebody wanted him. I mean, honestly, just to get out from under that contract, wouldn't you? I fucking would.
He won't be there next year either.
Nah. Sean Payton's had enough of him.
I don't know where his guarantees sit.
They're gonna have some money.
I think that they had to take like 37. So it's like, I do remember tweeting this out a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, Denver's kind of fucked.
Yeah.
They have like $37 million in dead money, but if they don't cut him by March 21st, they have $37 million guaranteed for the next year. So they're probably just going to have to eat shit and just take the dead money against their cap next season.
It's bad.
It's worse than
not
that.
Good.
Ben. It's worse than that. It's $49 million dead money.
49 million.
You were right about the 37 that becomes guaranteed. So
got it.
Yeah.
So but if you designated him a June 2nd cut, a June 1 cut rather, and you get the cap space in June, you'd save a little, or you defer a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I just I don't know, man. The
bottom line
Broncos
is we're
fucked. They're fucked.
Surtain's 23 years old too.
Yeah, he's
not old.
Why would you do that? Why? And they put him out there like he's available. I'm like, what? Why wouldn't you trade Jason Simmons?
Sorry,
Justin Simmons. Excuse me.
Yeah, the safety. Yeah.
I would trade a 2nd round pick for that guy.
Oh yeah. Him and Minka together, that would be incredible.
Yeah. And Minka could go back to being a free safety, which is where we really it would help. It would help Peterson. It would help Wallace having Minka back there on the back end being Minka.
Yeah.
It would make our corners better, knowing that they had back end help like that guy.
I mean,
that
three
elite
of our
presence.
Our top 4 tacklers on Sunday, 3 of them were safeties.
Well, I mean, and Minka, Minka
that's
plays a
not
lot in the
good.
box.
That's
now,
not
man.
good.
Minka's playing a lot in the box, though.
Yes, and he led the team in tackles. I think he ended up with
And
11.
yeah, I mean, he had some tackles behind the line of scrimmage. It was insane.
Yeah.
I was just like, why isn't this guy playing where he can anyway? I guess we got the turnover with Watt, so it wasn't the end of the world. But the thing that guy brings you is he's so opportunistic. He's always around the ball, and he's either trying to pull it out or he's looking for the ball that's been tipped and it's in the air and he's going to grab it. And those kinds of plays are game changers.
Terrell Austin said today, I think it was, that they're going to start moving TJ around a little bit. Not just say, here, go play on the edge and leave it at that. I agree. I think he needs to. If you look at the way teams are blocking him right now, they're really wasting a lot of resources to do it. And our other guys just aren't getting home all the time when they're in single.
And, I think it was Derek today who said, even if he's at 80-85% of what TJ is.
It was Derek.
On the right side as opposed to the left, he's still better than most guys in the league, and they might even stand him up and have him play off-ball linebacker again and, kind of threaten the rush that way, threaten the blitz that way up the middle. So they are going to move him around. I think that's a good thing. It did last week too. Having him in coverage obviously paid dividends. The guy is just
what with JPJ on the field. Ian, what were you seeing in terms of what they were doing with Patrick Peterson? As Scarp said, obviously he was trailing quite a bit. But what were they doing? Were they putting him in the slot? Or they
did run a couple of Peterson in the slot, and it was okay. He was still trailing a lot. He can't run with a receiver the whole way across the field. The only way he's going to be able to cover a guy is if it's on like a comeback route or maybe an out route from the slot, like to the sideline. But he can't keep up with receivers down the field or running across the field with them. So wherever you put him, it's probably going to be trouble. Like, it's just not a good situation. Right. He just doesn't have the foot speed anymore.
Let me ask you, but all of you, this question real quickly, since we're talking about P2 here. Is this guy a one and done with the Steelers?
Yeah. Yes.
Sharps
is a big fan. I'm going to let him go first.
Let me cook. Let me cook for a second here. This guy was good once upon a time, and that's fine. But Steelers fans fell in love with the name, and Mike Tomlin fell in love with the name, and that, he's Bryant McFadden's cousin. And Bryant McFadden helped Mike Tomlin win a championship. If it's not a friend, family member.
Bill Cowher win one too.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. No. So, okay. So then for Tomlin to say that, like, Patrick Peterson's our Cam Sutton, like, come on, man. Like, what are you doing? Like, Patrick Peterson should have never been signed. He's old. He's slow. The best thing that he does is talk about the interceptions that he should have had. And
he's looking through it. He's looking at that through that lens when he was actually a really great athlete. Yeah, You're right. You would have gotten that then, but you can't now, dude.
Right. Yeah, dude. Yeah, you're right. 6 years ago, and you know what? I think he had 6 picks last year. That's wonderful and dandy. But what happened with the Minnesota Vikings last year? They overachieved. They were like 11-1 in one-score games and lost in the first round at home to the New York Football Giants. What's that sound like? A Steelers team that wins every close game and loses when it matters most. No wonder Tomlin loved him. I mean, it makes perfect sense.
Well,
So getting back to Patrick Peterson, yes, he is a one and done here. And if he's not, then fans seriously need to look at this organization and see what their long-term goals are.
Well, but going back to what you said, Scarps, about the fact that, it's name recognition and all that. I mean, don't we do that too often with the Steelers, where we bring in a guy and we think, oh boy, this is going to be great, and it's like 90% of it's just based on what he's already done. It seems like we do that way too much. Maybe it's just me.
I mean, yes and no, because yes and no. I think that a guy like Joe Hayden had a lot left in the tank. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he was a guy that played on a terrible Browns team for a long time. And I think he played very well. I think he played very well here. A guy
he certainly is a guy that I have fond memories of.
Yeah, sure. A guy like Jericho Cotchery. Who signed midway through camp and was not coveted by others. I think he provided necessary plays and veteran leadership. But yeah, you have your Patrick Petersons. And sorry, I've had a couple drinks, but I can't think of others. But
that should go on a shirt.
But we know that there are plenty of who the hell fucking remember Sean McDonald? Remember that? Sean McDonald was a wide receiver.
Remember he was Josh. Who was the guy that we signed from the fucking Jaguars when they cut him?
Josh Scobie.
Scobie-Doo.
But they were in a
fourth round pick for that motherfucker.
They were in a kicker battle, but no, there was a wide receiver. There was a wide receiver we signed one time that was for name only.
There have been
was
so
it
many
Joey
of them.
Galloway?
Galloway they signed.
Galloway?
We did.
Yeah.
There was
he was done.
But
well, we signed Mike Vick. I mean, come on.
Anyway,
Mike Vick actually
decent,
though.
Yeah, he was pretty good for the Steelers.
He was okay.
Real quickly,
he was a dog.
Patrick, dickhead.
Oh wow,
Mark,
Steel Dad.
He had that dog in him. All right.
Oh my God.
Hey, listen. March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. Patrick Peterson has a $3 million roster bonus.
Yeah, no,
coming. Okay,
St. Patrick's Day. Nice reference. That way to go.
If he's still on the roster on March 17, he gets $3 million. So that's one of the reasons I'm like, yeah. So basically, it's built into his contract that they've got to make a decision before that.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with you guys. I think he's done.
Yeah, I love the guy. He's been a wonderful talent to watch in the NFL all these years and going back to his college days. But if you can't see that he's reached his end by just watching him play defense right now, I don't know what to tell you.
The dude's 33, gonna be 34. Yeah. He's not getting better. It's what we talked about when they signed him, when everyone on Twitter told me I was insane and that he was better than Cam Sutton. I'm like, what the fuck have you been watching?
Yeah.
This dude is not, he's old and he's not getting better.
No.
And Sutton, Sutton wasn't great, but what he was very steady. Very steady and very versatile.
Very smart. He knew where to be. He
reminded me of Will Gay in that result.
Very much so.
In that regard, rather. And except that, Will Gay initially, he had some rough years, but for a 5th round pick out of Louisville, Willie Gay had a nice career.
He's one of my favorite Steelers because of exactly what you said. I remember when way back when Matt and I were doing this podcast, and oh my God, we just roasted him endlessly. And he goes to Arizona and he comes back and he was sensational. He was just the kind of guy we needed on that defense, and he's the kind of guy you just love to see that happen to. Keeps
steady
fighting.
Eddie, man.
Yeah. No,
it's like fucking look at Geno Smith.
Yeah, that's a great example.
The Seahawks. Never gave up on himself, just kept working, kept fighting, kept going at it. And now I wouldn't say he's a great starter,
right?
But he's probably, let's call him the 16th or 17th best starter in the NFL.
He's mid.
Better than KP8.
That's Dick, fucking hater.
Wow,
I'm just saying,
what a Dick's thing to say.
Geno Smith is a respectable quarterback in the NFL, and the dude struggled for a long time and got it done, and actually got the big contract initially at the end. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
Mason Rudolph was next.
I think this gets back to what I always talk about.
Believes too.
Yeah, this is what I always talk about with cornerbacks, though. That corner is one of the few positions where, unless you can get a guy in the top 40 of the draft, which I know that's where we got JPJ, but unless you get a guy in the top 40, you're really better off signing free agents who have been in the league a while, because it takes time. Even young corners that come in, it takes them time to obviously, like, Sauce Gardner aside, because he's just awesome. Right. But a lot of young guys, it takes them time to acclimate to the NFL, to learn all the little things that receivers do. I mean, receivers in the NFL are, elite fakers at showing you one thing and doing something completely different.
Right.
And
that's very well put.
Time
very well put.
That those veteran guys, even if they were kind of like mid as, young players on their rookie contracts, they can develop into pretty darn good players. I mean, we saw that with, a couple guys that we've signed over time, and just other guys that have signed contracts. Like, you're better off going out and signing free agent corners that have been in the league and have experience than you are drafting them and trying to plug them in and play them.
And when you say been in the league, we're not talking about like a 33, 34-year-old guy.
No. I'm talking like guys in there like 26, 27, 28. And I'll throw out a name for people too, since you asked the question, right?
Yeah.
About the trade deadline. Sean Murphy-Bunting, he was on the Buccaneers team that won the Super Bowl.
That's right.
He's not real great, but he's probably better than like Levi Wallace and Patrick Peterson. He's in Tennessee right now, who sucks. They're having a fire sale.
Yep.
He's got 1 year
they're coming into Pittsburgh next Thursday.
Yeah, he's basically at the end of his contract. They signed him to like a stupid 1 year deal with like 2 void years on the end, but this is basically it'd basically be a 6 week rental. But he's got some experience, and he's only 26 years old. So, like, if you had something there, maybe you extend him. If not, say see you later. But the hard thing is with, signing anyone in free agency now, trading for someone, especially on the defense, like, they got to learn what the calls are. They got to learn the playbook. They got to learn all that stuff. It's a lot easier to sign, like, a tight end or a running back who's been sitting on their couch, when it's like, all right, this play you're going to run that way, or this play you're blocking that guy, or this play you're running this route. You can kind of help those guys along. When you're trying to signal out there on defense, there's a lot more to learn, and I think that's where Desmond King kind of struggled to pick things up.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's exactly what his downfall was. It's hard playing corner. It's one of the toughest positions in the NFL to play.
It is.
Many people say it's probably right behind quarterback. Welcome back, Ben. Welcome to the show.
That was really weird.
Yeah.
The thing that since you brought up Sauce Gardner, Gerald Stingley was actually taken 1 pick before him, and doesn't seem to be doing quite as well.
Cripe. Where is he? I don't even know where he is.
Houston.
Houston? That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Houston, we have a problem.
Well, it just, I mean, yeah. Guys, the Jaguars.
Sauce Gardner looked amazing coming out. It was just like,
sure. And he's lived up to it. Jaguars come in.
Jaguars.
Trevor Lawrence. Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence got a big arm. Moves pretty well in the pocket. Travis Etienne, good running back. They got some good receivers. Ridley, Christian Kirk in his huge contract. Evan Ingram, tight end. Defense is I mean, they get after it, but again, they're not great against the pass, and so, Scarps, you look like you've got a very strong point to make.
Wrong.
Uh-oh.
This is when you need to look into the numbers.
Ooh.
And their
Scarps is going to give us some PFF stats now.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to give you some
Don't
PFF.
you dare cite that bullshit.
I'm not going to give you some PFF stats. I'm going to say that in their past 3 games, they've given up a lot of passing yards, but all of the teams have attempted at least 40 passes, and 2 of the teams have attempted 50 passes.
Right.
And they were all behind.
They were all behind.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the thing. When you are behind, you throw the ball often and you throw it long.
Derek Carr threw the ball 55 times for 295 yards.
Right.
That's terrible. And
really? That's it?
And 13 of those completions were to Alvin Kamara for 5 yards a pop. But the point is that Steelers Sunshine Twitter will look at George Pickens' hope comments and be like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna kill this team," when we haven't killed a team in thousands of years. It has been
thousands is a little bit, a little hyperbole, buddy.
Hundreds.
It has been for also
2020. Things were going pretty well there for a while.
And Noah,
until Wink Martindale came along and
screwed us.
Just kept getting us another delay and another delay and another delay. He got an extra week basically to game plan for the Steelers.
Well, and Noah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, the other piece to what you were saying there, Scarps, about those 5-yard dump offs to Alvin Kamara, the Jaguars also tackle well. Alvin Kamara is not exactly the easiest guy to get down, but they were holding him almost every single time. Every time he caught the ball, tackle. And that's huge, especially against our guys who Jalen Warren's going to give him a challenge. Najee, we'll see. But I think that needs to be mentioned too. And Doug Peterson. I think Doug Peterson is 1-0 against Mike Tomlin?
Is that right? Yeah, in Philly.
Philly?
Yes,
yeah.
In Philly.
Yeah.
The other
different team though.
I'll stop talking after this for a little bit. But I'm a big history guy. I got a history specialization from Ohio University.
Well, they have that there. That's lovely.
Yeah, it is.
Isn't that where Mike Mitchell went to college too?
It is. He's June 10th, 87. I'm June 11th, 87. Call God. So
he was also very good at playing trail technique. This show just came full circle.
Trailer technique.
He couldn't tackle for shit either, so there we go.
No, he could tackle. He just couldn't get to the fucking ball carrier. That was annoying as fuck.
So
or communicate the coverages.
Matt Canada Smith is now in the chat, or is it actually Patrick Peterson? I don't really know.
It's one of the two. Baby.
Either way,
he is going to have a gold jacket for the shit he did before. He's
absolutely going to have a gold.
I never
jacket.
said he wasn't good. Yeah. I said he was good 5 years ago. There's
just
a big
not
difference.
Have it in
he was good a couple years ago, but he's done now.
Like Patrick Peterson. Patrick Peterson is like the band Kiss. If you saw them in the 70s, yeah, you saw prime Kiss. But if you saw them when the makeup came off, the Lick It Up era, it just wasn't good enough. Vinnie Vincent joined the band. It just wasn't it. So
I saw them then. They weren't that bad.
Yeah. Scarps has got a good point though.
If it is somebody's burner account, thank you for joining us and listening. So I'm a big history guy.
I think Matt's been in here before, actually.
Matt's wondrul.
Debbie Downers. This might be a troll. I kind of like this. Anyway,
Matt's not a troll. I think you just.
So getting back to the history lesson.
You were hoping for a happy podcast, really?
If you wanted a happy ending, you should have went to the Browns podcast. So the Jacksonville Jaguars are the only team to beat the Steelers in the regular season and postseason in the same season.
It's true.
and they did it twice. In 2007.
The Browns did it. The Browns did it in
Well, yeah,
not in 2020.
Yeah.
We split.
Sorry.
Yeah.
To beat the Steelers at home.
At home.
Didn't the Browns beat us at home in week 17 and then was that in Cleveland?
That was 2020. We beat them at home.
Okay, we beat them at home, and then they beat us at their place to clinch the playoff spot.
Wasn't Landry the QB?
Yeah, Landry was the QB.
The Jaguars.
Baker Mayfield ran that end around on 32.
Jaguars are the only team to beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh twice in the same season in the regular season postseason. Right. Did it twice, 2007, 2017. That's my history lesson for tonight.
So are you suggesting that if they beat us Sunday, that there's a chance they could come back and maybe beat us again in the postseason?
So you're saying there's
I highly doubt that because
too.
They're probably they're more than likely gonna win the South.
Right.
And that means we would have to win the North to even have that happen.
Right.
And I don't see that happening.
But maybe we'll go there and beat them there in Jackson Hole or whatever the hell that is.
Jackson shithole.
Matt Smith, reveal your true self.
I think Matt's been on the show before.
Matt has been on the show. Matt's good people. He has. Clearly he forgot that.
I don't know if he's good people or not. I have no idea.
Well,
he could be just as big an asshole the rest as you three, but maybe not. Maybe not. Could be a good guy too. I have no idea.
Matt, we appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.
But we do appreciate your interaction, Matt.
I do want to get to predictions before we get to Steelers Casey.
What? We're only an hour in. Really? You want to do this already?
Can we talk about the Jags receivers a bit? Because they're pretty darn good.
And they have a pretty good quarterback too. I don't know if you noticed that.
He can spin it.
Too. Yes. But I mean, I'm not making much of a bold statement or going out on a limb or taking a gamble here that Calvin Ridley's, playing well, and they're playing him a lot on the outside. And, Christian Kirk, they signed to a big deal last year, and he's still a threat. Obviously, Evan Ingram can do some damage from the tight end spot. And let's not forget about Zay Jones out of the slot, who did a lot last year when they didn't have Ridley, and now they do have Ridley, and I don't know, it just kind of, they have more receivers than we have corners that can match up with, and that terrifies.
Yes, they've got some speed.
And
that's always
we
too.
We need to count on the pass rush getting home this week in order to have an opportunity to shut this offense down. I'm not, if I'm Terrell Austin, and I'm not, but I'm not gonna say let's just shut down the run and dare them to throw, because then they will. And this is a team that can throw the ball.
Right. Yeah, and I their ability to get ATN going too is also worrisome to me.
Yeah. So Mark,
the way we stop the run.
So Mark, Travis Etienne, when was he drafted?
Well, I believe he was drafted the same year they drafted Trevor Lawrence.
He was. That's correct. And who was the pick right before the Jags took Travis Etienne?
Well, I believe it was a Steeler, and it was somebody who
plays the same position.
Plays the same
Where's
position.
22?
Yeah.
Wears 22 and looks more like a pulling guard right now.
Yeah.
Najee. Yeah.
Najee.
If you could convince him to stay between the tackles.
Yes, that's a piece of it. But what he really needs to do before next season is drop some fucking weight.
Yeah. Well, yes, I'm talking about right now. Yeah.
Right now he could lose some weight between now and the end of the season. But
but I really believe that he's trying to do too much stuff, and he's
not a guy who can run outside.
No, he's not gonna. This is not college football where he got away with that stuff, and it's not even his rookie year where he occasionally got away with it. He looks solid.
Basically, he's a power back, and he can make guys miss in the short area. but he's not a guy who's running away from anybody.
No, it's so drastically different when you watch him and then Warren comes in, gets a handoff and hits the hole, and it's like, holy crap.
It's drastically different watching him now for the Steelers versus the way he played in college. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He was
No, I agree.
Faster is not the right word because he didn't really have a big top gear when he was in college either.
Right.
But he was quicker. He could accelerate faster. He had a little burst. Right now, he got nothing.
Do you think that's weight or coaching?
It's weight. The dude weighs 245 pounds. And Lev Bell said the same thing. His rookie year, he was about 240.
Yes.
And he's like, yeah, I get down to 220, then 216, and I'm an all-pro.
Yeah.
And that's what this guy needs to do.
Well, I'm with you. And I just, I don't know. I do wonder about the coaching because, are they keeping him where he needs to be? Go ahead, Scarp.
No, I mean this in the most respectful possible way. Like when Le'Veon Bell got there, he was a little chubby. I'm being real.
Oh, yeah.
Like
no,
he was.
It was no secret around
and
East Lansing.
You could easily see that he put in the work. He lost weight. And the alternative to him was Eddie Lacy. And Eddie Lacy, bless his
heart,
heart,
a good rookie year.
He did.
Had a good rookie year, but after that, got a little chubby. And they went in opposite directions.
Right.
No doubt about it.
And I'm not going to say that Najee is chubby. He's in amazing shape for a guy his size. But if you want to be that speed guy and you want to be that sort of gadget guy, you can't be 255.
No, I agree.
And that's why, and I tweeted this earlier, out of all the rookie undrafted guys last season, Jaylen Warren is, Ian, what'd you tweet?
Finish your point. I'm sorry. I should not post things in the chat while you're talking.
You're good. I don't fucking remember what I was going to say. Anyway, but yeah, I don't remember anything now.
You said he's in amazing shape, and I really thought you were going to conclude that sentence with
no. I wasn't even trying to. I wasn't trying to be that. No. But that's so. I tweeted this earlier. Out of all the rookie undrafted guys from last year, Jaylen Warren has the most scrimmage yards. The only guy that's even close, and he's right behind him, is the dude for the Saints, Rashid Shaheed, the wide receiver. Yep. So like the Steelers found a guy in Jaylen Warren that is the perfect complement to Najee. And honestly,
a nice player. Especially on
compliments the key word.
Yeah. And but it's also a reminder to not invest first round running back draft picks.
Yeah, please. We should have taken offensive line and taken a running back later. I mean,
Ben, how many times who got picked right before Najee Harris? Because he's playing pretty damn good too.
No. Who's
Christian Darrisaw, the tackle from Virginia Tech, who's playing pretty darn good for the Vikings right now.
Yeah. But the guy I wanted was Creed.
Yeah.
And I was willing to take. I was like, they should take him the first round. He's not going to be there. But then he was still there in the second. I was like, they got to take him now. They got to take him now. Creed Humphrey, take him now. No, Pat Freiermuth. Why? What the fuck? Why?
I'm worried about Pat Freiermuth. I'm not going to lie.
Pat Freiermuth, and I said this before the season started, he does some things well.
Right.
He's a terrible blocker, and he's not that nifty as a receiver. Somebody will take him. Somebody will take him as a free agent next year. He's gone.
If he was real dynamic as a receiver, I wouldn't even bring it up. But he's not.
He's a bit of a disappointment, in my opinion. And I know that the Penn State homers will disagree with me. Muth and all, whatever, man. He's not Heath. It ain't.
No,
it ain't
he's
even
not even
close.
in his
He can't
stratosphere.
block, man.
It ain't even close.
No.
And Heath was that guy. Like when you needed, it's 3rd and 9. He's gonna get you 11 or 12.
Yep.
And every once in a while, he's just gonna barrel over a corner and get you 30. And Freiermuth's not that guy.
No. And I that's my concern. He's got a little concussion history. He's dealing with a hamstring now. He's just
and
not.
I think somebody's going to take him next year and stick him into a system offense and pay him pretty well, and he's going to do well once he leaves.
Well, yeah,
but not as a blocker. Don't get me wrong, but as a receiver until he gets injured. But until that happens, Steelers fans are going, see, you should have kept him. He's so nah.
Well, it's hindsight 2020. Okay, so we got a 1:00 kick on Sunday in the Steel City. Let's
means
go
a 7:30 a.m. breakfast, right, Johnny?
Is Johnny still listening?
I don't know.
Anyway, let's start with Scarpino tonight.
God.
Steelers hosting the Jaguars.
I-
What do you got, Scarps?
I'm going to check with Matt Smith. Matt, are you still on? Am I allowed to pick against the Steelers?
You do it every week. I mean,
You
what
do
do
it
you
every
have to
week,
do
for
now?
God's sakes.
That is wrong. I picked them to beat the Texans, and look what happened.
That's true.
So I am okay. This is a. I think this is the best team the Steelers have played since the 49ers week 1.
Whoa.
And
I don't know, the Texans were pretty good.
Not that good.
I mean, I know they beat this team. The Texans actually beat this team by 20 for what it's worth.
Right.
But
7:30 breakfast, Johnny. You ready?
this is a really good team with a really good quarterback that's younger than Pickett,
It's a
that
pretty
already
good
has
offense.
41 starts under his belt,
Mhm.
and that absolutely has the Steelers number under Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh.
Mhm.
I'm not going to say blowout, but I'm going to say this. If the Steelers suck for the first 3 quarters, this will be bad. So I have the Jaguars, and I have them
Are you writing this out?
31-17.
Oh wow,
Ben
Not even
Anderson,
close.
your prediction.
I'm not going to be that brutal, but I think this is a superior offense to ours. It's not a good defense. Doesn't mean it's terrible. It's just not
Right.
good.
Right.
And our D needs to find a way to stop the run. They're 28th rush defense yards
Mhm.
per game. They're
Mhm.
27th in yards per carry. They're the 30th overall in yards per game. It's not a good defense. I know you got some guys that are very talented, but the rest of the guys are just guys. And you got a defensive coordinator who isn't really calling good games. And the only thing that's keeping people from calling for his head is that the offensive coordinator is even fucking worse. So I know it's a home game, and that gives us, 3 points.
Mhm.
But I'm gonna say Jaguars. I'm not a drunk burger, so I can't say it that way. Jaguars 24, Steelers 21.
Whoa, a field goal game. All right, Ian, what do you got?
Oh, me? Okay, well,
Well, you're the only one left.
you could have gone.
Yeah, no, I always go last.
I know you.
Jen, they can shit the bed anytime they want. There are no rules.
True story.
All right. So here's what I'll say. The Steelers are really good, not just this year, but in years past, really the last 3 years,
Johnny,
when they hold their opponents basically under 23 points.
Yeah.
The problem is that so far this year, the Jags have scored over 23 points 5 times, and they're 5-0 in those games. Go figure. So they're kind of like the Steelers, that if they score 23 plus, they win. If somebody holds them under 23, they probably lose. The problem is they've got a pretty good running back in Travis Etienne who can not only break tackles, but can take it to the house at any time. Mm-hmm. And we don't really have the best tackling defense. They've got a couple good receivers in Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, who we mentioned, and Evan Ingram at tight end. Additionally, the weather is going to be like 65 and rainy. There's a 96% chance of rain. So
65, so it's going to be warm and rainy?
Yeah. Warm and rainy. We got a warm rain for this game, which is a weird October weather for Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got a warm rain for this game, which means it might be a little sloppy on Heinz Field or Acrisure Stadium or whatever it is now. I guess Heinz Field is technically an Aliquippa, so it's at Acrisure Stadium. But I don't think that slows down the Jaguars at all, because we've seen the Steelers equipment department fail on multiple occasions to actually get the right cleats on the guys for the turf and weather that they're playing on.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah. So, so I'm going to go, and unfortunately, like we've mentioned, the Jags pass defense is terrible, but the run defense is actually pretty good.
Yep.
And we have an offense with a quarterback who's basically only good play is throwing a jump ball down the sideline to George Pickens. Last week in the fourth quarter, they finally looked like a real NFL offense and started using the middle of the field a little bit. But nevertheless, I'm not real confident that our quarterback can go out and keep up with their quarterback, even though they've had very similar statistics over their first 20 career starts. Nevertheless, I'm going to go, Ryan, what'd you say, 31-17?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'll go Jags 34, Steelers 13.
Holy shnikes, that's a blowout.
You guys are both predicting
Ian,
blowout.
what fucking happened to you, man?
I was gonna
say 31-17. One,
but
I was
can't
really
pick
hoping
the same score as you, so I had to go like a little more and a little less.
Wow.
I'm really, you guys are a couple of haters, and I was really hoping for a more sunshiny kind of a podcast tonight, bastards.
Well, I'll
to counter myself, like
I'll
the
top
opposite
it
of me.
off.
Dick.
I think the Steelers will find a way to make it close, but it won't be enough. I got Jaguars 26, Steelers 20.
Ooh, wires.
Jaguars. And now, ladies and gentlemen,
oh boy,
from the grave,
we all picked against the Steelers this week, didn't we?
We did.
Which
hopefully,
I'm going to keep picking against them because every time I do, they fucking win.
Yeah, that's kind of my theory too. Anyway, ladies and
little
gentlemen,
superstition there.
From the grave, he is the great American Top 40 host for generations. His name is Casey Kasem.
Oh boy,
and he is on now.
Casey's Coast to Coast, American Top 40. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the week that was October 26, 1987. Our favorite correspondent, Ryan, is once again back with us this week, and he writes, Dear Casey, I've got something on my mind that I need to share. And I'm not talking about the burning sensation when I pee. Casey, I'm so old, I remember when Steelers fans only cared about Steelers business. Now it's always, did you see the Ravens lost too? Brock Purdy is not better than Kenny Pickett. Myles Garrett isn't good as TJ. And my response to all this noise is, who cares? But I get it. The Steelers have become nameless gray faces, and fans are finding any way they can to seek comfort. There's no question TJ Watt is one of the best defensive players in the game, but that's literally all we've got. Overall, this just isn't a good football team. But hey, 13-4 is still a possibility. Speaking of 1, 3, and 4, the Steelers' offense is terrible in quarters 1 through 3, but they've done well in the fourth quarter recently. I have to give credit to Dad Canada. That's right, I'm calling him Dad Canada, because every time they show him in the booth, he looks like a dad that just might jump if the neighbor has a better-looking lawn. Oh, that's right, we can't give credit to Dad Canada. All credit goes to Kenny Pickett. You see, Casey, when the Steelers suck for 3 quarters, it's Canada's fault. When they do well in the fourth quarter, it's all because of the Steelers' first-round pick of the 2022 NFL Draft. Casey, did you know that he played at the University of Pittsburgh for 10 seasons? He'll be eligible for Social Security by 2027. Casey, I just knew this would happen. Canada doesn't deserve the benefit of the doubt, but you can't act like he isn't part of crunch time success. What we should be celebrating is that the unit overall looked like it knew what it was doing. Instead, we blame Dad Canada. For those listening, be careful what you wish for. You just know this team's going to get to 9-8, maybe 10-7, and the offense will be better than garbage, and Canada will come back. Casey,
fuck you.
Casey, if you recall my letters during last season, I said about midway through the year that Canada would be back, and it wasn't taken well. I had the hunch back then that he would be back, and I have it again.
Oh, God.
You should have known better than to question me. Well, Ryan, you did say Canada would be back this year, and on behalf of all American Top 40 listeners, kindly take a hike. I swear to God, if Matt Canada is back next year, I will find you, and I will kill you. But you're in for a treat this week. Up 9 spots to number 17. Here's Richard Marks with Should Have Known Better.
Oh, Richard Marks. The great Richard Marks. Yes, very, very good, Casey.
Well, we might as well call Ryan Quasimodo because he's got that hunchback.
Wow. Good stuff. Good
Dude.
stuff.
That was good, Ryan. Well done.
Yeah, very
You
good.
suck. Fuck
87. Oh, man. Well, we're all on the Jags this week, so I'm sorry.
Claude, I hope you're right.
Yeah, I hope
Really
Claude's
do.
right. I hope Freak's right.
Oh, did Freak pick the Steelers too?
He's got them. Yeah, well, based on the weed that he bought called wishful thinking. Smoke them if you got them, Freak. And yeah. So anyway, thanks so much to everybody. We always appreciate you guys being here with us. We have no idea why you don't have something better to do on your Thursday nights, but we're glad
Shut
you don't.
up.
And anyway, we're signing off. Make sure you check out the website, steelcityblitz.com, and check us out on our socials, of course, across the spectrum of platforms. And that includes TikTok. Have a great night, everybody. And this has been the SCB Steelers Podcast, presented by DEK Roofing Incorporated of South Florida. And hey, go Steelers.
Ravens suck. Send hate mail to Steel Dad.
Oh, dicks.